Hey y'all, thanks for joining us today. Today we have Calliope Scherrer. She is the owner of Muse Branding Studio. Thank you so much, Calliope, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
If you could, just so our listeners know a little bit about you, if you could give us a little bit of a background and tell us a little bit about your company, and then we'll just dive straight in.
So, Muse Branding Studio only got established this year in 2022. We focus on digital branding for female founders. So, that is the web presence with social media, website. It is the branding of your visuals, logos. We do photos and videos. And there's a mentorship aspect as well. And then I have a side business called The Hollywood Witch that I was doing for 6 years as a tarot reader at events.
Awesome. So you said you just got started. So, what made you want to start a branding? Like, what was the drive to go into that industry?
So my first business started when I was 17 and it was film production. So I was making tutorials, commercials, promotional videos for small businesses in San Francisco and independent artists. And I did that for 6 years. And inevitably, some of the clients would say, "Hey, you made this great video for us, or you took these great photos. Can you put that on social media? Can you help us with our website?" And so I would start to get paired with the social media managers, the website developers, um, the graphic designers. And I started to really learn that side of it. And after 6 years, I was just feeling like it was time to change. And I started to really study business and I learned where I was doing things right and doing things wrong. Um, so I started over with the tarot business, just really refining what I knew about branding, what I knew about content creation. And I built this thriving brand for myself where people really, really recognized who the Hollywood Witch was. And um, I was able to play around with the benefits of branding, like really raising to a premium price, being very selective about who I work with, getting opportunities just kind of coming to me, clients coming to me. Um, so after six or about 5 years of doing that, I was being asked to mentor people on their businesses. And I would be mentoring them and I would start to tell them, like, here's how you can do your content creation. Here's how you can do your branding. And they were like, great, I love the info, but I can't do it myself. And they would try and it would just kind of fall flat because that's not their skill set. Their skill set was in what their business is about. So I started to take them on as clients privately in January of 2020. I was like, hey, I've got this skill set. Let me do your website. Let me make you a logo. Let's do this. And I was still doing tarot full time. And I started to notice, I was like, wow, I really missed this creative aspect. I really missed being hands-on in the business. Um, and I was honestly getting a little bored of the tarot business. I mean, you're in something for 5 to 6 years. It just, and I'm an entrepreneur. I wanted
I was gonna
some
say with
fresh,
entrepreneurship, I feel like that's it. Like you kind of get
yep.
stir crazy. Like what's next?
Yeah. You're like, what's next? Like, I'm excited. And like, this was like building really quickly. And so early on this year, I was like, all right, I'm doing a transition. Like, I am going to put tarot as the side hustle back burner, which really fits the brand because I just quadrupled the price and was like, here's the only way to work with me if you want this. And the Hollywood Witch has that reputation, so it works. And then I went all in building this branding business, doing everything behind the scenes until I came up with a name. And then the name hit me in the middle of July. And I was like, there we go. It's called Muse. That encompasses everything I wanted the business to be. Um, I was already accepted onto the Blox at this point. So when I interviewed with them, I was like, okay, I'm in this weird place, but this is my entrepreneurial journey. I emailed Wes the second I had the name. I was like, okay, we got a name. I can go on the show, like with my new business representing. Um, and so Muse like officially launched in August of 2022.
So did
And
you
then
launch before we went on the show or after?
25 days before.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Yeah. So I had been doing it for months, but it was the first official, like everyone knew. I finally had the domain and the email address change, and it was like official to the public. I was like, Muse Branding Studio is, open for business.
Now you are based, I'm sorry if you said this, you're based out of California, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I'm in
Okay.
Los Angeles. I'm from San Francisco,
Mhm.
so I'll go up there for projects too. And then I have a place in San Diego, so I'll go down there too.
Okay.
So it's
Now, so do you,
California.
yeah, there you go, up and down the coast. So
Yeah.
do you primarily, like, is your client base primarily locals, like you're working with them face to face, or do you have a really strong online community and you're doing branding, consulting, things like that via this type of platform?
Right now, it's mostly virtual clients because
Okay.
after 2020, I really just went into, the virtual world like everyone did. But I'm starting to look for clients that are more local based so I can bring them that photo and video element. If someone's far away and they want photos and video, there's things we can do. Like I can create the content here and send it to them, or I'll go and travel to them, or I'll call somebody in their town and like set that up and like direct and manage it from afar.
Very cool.
So if you travel to them, is there I'm assuming there's more cost to that, correct?
Yeah, that's my highest tier package, but I will go and spend anywhere from 3 to 7 days where someone is, so I can film their business, take pictures of all their stuff, their products, them, employees, customers. There's a lot we can do.
So if you don't mind, tell us you don't have to give names, but like the type of clientele you work with. So what are the types of businesses you've helped with branding so far?
When I first started and I was doing the film production, I was really working with a variety of clients. Like I mentioned, small business and also artists. So there was singers, dancers, visual artists. And then I was working with a lot of guys who did fitness because they need so many videos for their, for that kind of business.
They love pictures of themselves.
Yeah, they need a ton of photos. They need a ton of tutorials. A lot of health and wellness businesses, and even like random ones like coffee shops. And it was just a free for all. I worked for everyone. So this one's really refined to female founders. So women who are in business, women who their business is very established. Like they know what they're doing, but they come to me when it's like, all right, I have this fully functioning business. Let's make it look even better. Let's take it next level. Let's draw in more clients or raise the prices. And so I'll help them make that happen. And then even when you have a targeted audience, a niche, you still get those other people. So thanks to the Blox, I'm working with some people that are totally out of that demographic. Like I'm working with Dan, who has the game store. And it's so fun because all the same principles of branding still apply. Like we made his logo to match his why in business, and it just looks so much better. So, and when I say so much better, I don't just mean like the literal visual. I mean like taking his core about like, I own a game store because of connection and fun. And so instead of having a pair of dice next to his name, which was the old logo, I illustrated people like in a circle having fun. And like there's a game on the table, but everyone's like, their arms are in there, they're like, yay. And so, even if they're not a female founder, it's like, it's still so fun to work with people and figure out why they're in business and then figure out how to translate that in different ways.
So do you do a lot more rebranding than like initial branding?
It's a mixture of both. It's usually more on the side of a rebrand, because if someone comes to me and they haven't really been making profit in their business, they don't have certain things established, I'll kind of say, I don't know if you need branding yet. Like, I'd rather see someone who's like a freelancer, who's like proven that they love it, they're in it, they know what they're doing, they have some type of process, and then give them a brand, even if they didn't have one before. But that still feels like a rebrand to me, because they had something out there, like whatever it looked like, there was something out there. Yeah.
Okay, so and then what made you? Obviously, I'm all about women empowerment, like obviously. But what made you want to gear towards women more? Is it? I mean, what was your why behind that?
I just genuinely like women so much. Like, I don't want people to think that sounds weird. Like, I love men. I worked mostly with male clients in the beginning. And there's just certain things that I dislike about it. There's these certain challenges that would always come up that never come up with when I work with women. So I just decided I can be exclusive. I can brand for women. I want to talk to women. I mentioned I have that mentorship option too. So if someone comes for branding and I'm like, I don't think you're ready for branding, I'll like mentor them more and be like, let me just get you some more sales, get you more clear about what you're doing. And so when I have a relationship that is that close, I'd prefer it was a woman, just with some of my beliefs about business and like how I structure my own business. And if I said those things to a man, they'd be like, that doesn't apply to me. But say it to a woman and they're like, thank you. Like, you are fit into my life perfectly.
Very cool. So what are some, long-term goal? I hate the question long-term goals, because I feel as entrepreneurs, we sometimes have what tend to be short-term goals that then transition into different dreams or different escalations of the business. So what's the future of this look like if you had to map it out for us visually?
So I am launching a digital magazine and a video series in November.
Ooh,
I'm really excited about that. I'm featuring some of the women on the Blox in some of the first magazine articles and video series. So that's the big focus right now that's about to come out. And so that's big goal number one. Big goal number two, after those are launched, is I'm going to start a program. So anyone who can't brand with me on an individual level, I'm going to have a program that I take them through. So everyone will get a class and then they'll get a private session with me. But it will be very like do it yourself. And then I come in and help the tweaks or help move it along, guide it along. And then after that launches, the third goal is to start hosting events in person here in Los Angeles, where I want to gather a big, rooms full of women. It will be like a cocktail mingle. I don't think there'll be like the educational piece. It will be more about networking. And then there'll be an area where you can get a headshot. So if you come to the event, you get a gorgeous headshot of yourself. And then I'm going to have a photographer doing candid photography. So it's very much like network, get a bunch of content, enjoy drinks and food with like-minded women in business specifically is who are invited. And then that one, I want to see that grow until I can do like really big events, because I love planning and throwing events.
You could partner with Selfie Studio in setting up the space to take the picture.
100%. That would be so
Throwing
cool.
that out there.
Yes. Well, actually that fits, because I wanted the headshot area, the candid photos, and then I wanted my logo on a backdrop. And yeah, that's the solution. Instead of people taking the photos themselves, it's like, let's bring Selfie Studio to make that easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
I always have big goals. I'm excited.
So you're looking to accomplish all this by the end of this year? This year?
No, this is mapped out until September 2023.
Okay.
So the magazine launch is next month with the video series. The program, I'm aiming for about March to launch it and sell it. And then the events is about September of next year.
Will the program be more like webinar based, or will it be more like in the beginning, will it be more like kind of like you're live doing it and then it'll be a webinar type thing? Or is it always going to be a live type thing?
Exactly. The first version will be live. and as many versions as I need after that, just to really know what my 6-month process is with everyone and how people actually interact and respond to it. So once I have that on lock, then I will make the videos myself, pre-recorded, nicely edited, look good. And it'll be more of a do-it-yourself thing, and there'll be the do-it-yourself option, and then do it yourself, but with a group live, and you still get the sessions with me, but I don't have to necessarily teach every week or every month.
Have you thought about doing like kind of like, I guess it would kind of be like a TED Talk version of it, like where you go and speak to, I mean, because I know they do like, I know I keep going back to the women. I know you are more geared towards women. You do men as well. That sounds really weird, Andrea. You work with men as well.
Yeah.
However, have you thought about like teaming up kind of like with like the women networking groups that like go and present and have like different speakers and keynote speakers and stuff like that? Have you thought about doing something like that in the future as well?
Yeah, I would love to do that. I've applied for a few things. Nothing's ever panned out yet. I think that will be different with this new business. It's a little more, the direction I'm going in makes more sense for that. So yeah, it's not like a goal on the timeline, but it's like, I'm always open to it. I do as many speaking events as I get invited to in general.
So after people listen to this and they go and stalk you on the internet, they're going to see your beautiful curated social media. Tell us the story about that. Like, was it an easy transition for you to be doing, like, you have gorgeous photos of yourself. You personally are very present in all of your social media. And I know that's something that entrepreneurs, specifically female entrepreneurs, struggle with putting themselves as the face of their brand. Now I know that that's business specific. So if you have a product-based business, you may not put your face in it as much, but like, talk to us about your journey with that. Was that something that just came naturally? Is that something that you kind of evolved into? And I'm sure you have people come to you and say, I want to look that good.
Yeah. That's definitely a comment I get. I think what people don't realize is how easy it can actually be. And I'll talk about the full journey in a second, because there was an evolution. But all the photos you're seeing on my social media right now was from one day of shooting.
I figured I was going to ask. But it's like, very well done, because it doesn't seem that way. Like, your hair is different, your clothes are different, even the scenery is different,
And that's one of the services I offer, is people can do a photo shoot, content days, get a whole bunch of content done. That photo shoot, I hired a really great, expensive photographer. I really did my research on like, who is going to deliver the vibe I want, who is really skilled with the camera. And then paid their rate, because there's many times where I have done the opposite, where I was like, oh, I know so-and-so who does pictures, and $50 or $100. You do one of those and you're lucky to get like 2 shots that you like. And then great, what are you going to do with those 2 shots over and over and over again? So for this one, I was like, I'm really going to invest in this. So that photo shoot was in April. Oh, it's October now. I'm still using the photos from what I got. I very intentionally rented out a space that looks like there's different, like I'm in different locations, but I'm in one room. I just changed my outfit 100 times, changed my hair up just a little teeny bit, switched the jewelry. And it took about 2 hours, and that was months ago. And I'm still utilizing the photos. And I really planned out what the photos were going to be. And I was in that weird space where I was like, am I changing to branding, or am I a tarot reader still? And I was really already feeling like, no, this is the new brand, the new vibe. I don't want any tarot cards. Like, I just don't want any of that visual. But if you look at some of my pictures, I am holding a tarot book. And it's like very sneaky in there, because the book is black and gold. And like, I knew black and gold would be in the branding. Turns out gold is not so much in the official branding anymore, but The book still like is on brand. But the journey with that was, so the first 6 years of the film business, I was not the face of the business. It was all referral. I wasn't online. I had a really, really bad website that I threw together, but my work was really good. I was excellent cinematographer, excellent editor, excellent director. So just referral. Never had to think about what I looked like. Tarot business, I was thrown into this whole new thing because it's like, if you're going to pay for tarot reading, especially online, you want to see who's doing it. You want to see my face. You want to know my name. You want to know everything. So I kind of started, now it's called influencer marketing. Back then I was just doing whatever intuitively felt right on Instagram, but I would post every day. I'd have these long captions. I would do selfies of myself. And there's even, this is all archived, but in the first like 3 months of the tarot business, there's a post I do where there's a selfie of me and the caption is like, isn't it so hard to like get a really good selfie? Like I'm really learning my face. And I was just like explaining the process of like, I'm falling in love with my nose now that I'm figuring out the right angles, and I'm styling my hair for the first time because like I care now because it's in pictures. And so then a year into the tarot business, Instagram came out with stories as a feature. So I would film myself. And the first stories are crazy. I talk in a really small, meek voice that's not mine because I was just like, oh, I'm in front of the camera. Like, and it's just, oh my, and I'm just like, no, I'm just like this sweet, like timid, it's so different. But it worked. I was like, wow, this gives me clients immediately. Like a post will get me 1 client, but I do stories, I get 5 clients. So for years and years, the main marketing for tarot was to go on stories, go on live, like everyone see my face and I'm talking, and I just got really accustomed to it. And I started having fun with it. And I was like, ooh, let me buy lights. Let me have a background. Like, let me play with, you know, what the outfit, the jewelry, the makeup. I got really into it. So now with Muse branding, it's like effortless. It's just, that's a part of my branding. I know what to do. I know what I'm doing. I pay for eyelash extensions to make getting ready easier.
Me too.
And now that's what I help other women do too.
Very cool.
Was it like, okay, so you mentioned like the nose just as the example, but like, was confidence ever a thing? Like, I have to assume, just because with most women, that I think that the confidence is the issue. I don't think it's that they don't believe in what they're doing or that they shouldn't necessarily be the face, but it's more of like, I'm not going to appeal to someone. So it's like the confidence level. So is that ever an issue for you? Or, I mean, you're obviously a gorgeous girl. So like, I'm just wondering, like, is that like everybody or, you know, just me over here?
I always so it seems weird because I'm like a creative and I'm a tarot reader, but I really sit on logic and facts. Like I really operate off that kind of stuff. So instead of getting all emotional and being like, oh my God, my acne looks really bad, or like, oh my God, my teeth, my hair, blah, blah, all like, you know, anyone can do that. I would just be like, okay, what's important? And I would sit on like, this message is important. What I'm doing is important. Like, if they want to hate on my look, then they're not a client or a customer. They're not my person. And I would just keep leaning back on those truths and brushing aside any of the emotional aspect I might have. And that helped. Like, I think this fits in with confidence, but sometimes you guys know I'm active on social media. Like that's a big marketing thing of mine. So there's nights where, like to this day, like this whole journey, there's nights where I'm laying in bed and I'm like, God, I was so cringy online today. God, oh. And then I'm just like, all right, whatever. I'm getting paid. It's fine.
It's fine.
Move on. It's fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm not letting Andrea talk at all today. Um, so, okay, you obviously live in LA.
Mhm.
So, have you, like, you say you're from San Francisco?
Yes.
So, what brought you to LA, the film industry?
Um, yes and no. So I was born and raised in San Francisco. And when I was 25, one of my clients, I made a docu-series for her. It blew up. Like, we were trending on Twitter for 3 days. We were on national news. We were on every, like, CNN, Fox, NBC, all the things. She was getting all of the attention for this web series. And because it was just her co-founder and me, since it was a startup, I was thrown into the mix too, because I'm the producer of the docuseries. People didn't like it. People
They
liked
didn't
the
like the
docu.
docu-series, or they didn't like?
They liked the docuseries. They
Oh,
didn't like the product. She was creating an app. Black Mirror actually made an episode about us, because that's how, like, everyone was like, this is terrible, this is dystopian, this is the end of the world, we hate your app. I was getting death threats.
wow.
They're from Canada. By the way, the app was to rate people from 1 to 5 stars on personal, romantic, and professional. The Yelp for humans.
I mean,
So
okay, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I get it now. I get the hate. I get
yeah.
not
And
against you, but I can see how some people would take offense to that.
back then, and this really sparked my journey of branding, which I'll get into in a second. But back then I was just the film producer. I was like, hey, you want to pay me? You got this app? I'll make a docu-series. Let's market it in this way. Like, great. And that was it. That's as much as I thought about it. And then it blew up and I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, this is insane. So they're from Canada. I'm from San Francisco. So my address, every address I lived in the city got leaked. And people were going to my address and throwing bricks through windows. And so I had cops outside my family's house. They didn't know my current address for some reason, so I was fine there, but like, cops were showing up and I was just like, this is crazy. Anonymous sent us a video being like, stop now or your bad things will happen to you. It was really scary.
Oh
And
my
I'm
God.
filming the web series in real time. So the last episode, like, all the footage is like shaky because I'm like shaking. I was like having a full anxiety attack over this whirlwind of a week. So
Yeah, I don't think I have ever known anybody that has had anonymous like actually come at them.
I know, I was like, this is, and it all was in a week. Because the web series, I did it for like 3 weeks and then it got picked, like, blew up, but it was a week of just like the hate online, her being on all the television shows for this. She's on Dr. Phil and stuff. And then anonymous and like the police and like my safety being threatened. And so just the worst anxiety attack I've ever had in my life. Like, the room literally like spun around me and I was like, what is my life? And so the Canadians went back to Canada. They were like, sorry, girl, we're shutting this down. They're like, here's your payment for gone. And so I'm in San Francisco and I just feel unsafe. And then I got mugged, which was actually completely unrelated, but it was just like that next thing.
Yeah.
Then my long-term client, where we had a 3-year contract, was like, I've fallen in love with you and I don't want our relationship to be professional anymore. So I was like, like, that's one of the reasons I work with women. So I was just like, damn, like, we had such a good thing going. Bye, half my paycheck, living in San Francisco, paying for my own place. So anyway, all that to say, I freaked out. Like, it was too much in 1 month for me. It was October 2015. And I just fled and I went to Oregon. I went to a tiny town in Oregon. Being from a city, tiny town was like, it's actually, now that I have more perspective, it's considered a city. I just thought it was like a rural tiny town. So I went there I quit. I told all my film clients, like, I'm so sorry, I'm closing down the business. I can't do this. I wrapped up maybe 6 months worth of projects. But I was like, I'm done. And I was living off my savings. And I started this whole spiritual journey to like kind of move through all that anxiety and like understand what even happened. And I came to this whole point where I was like, things really matter. Like, I didn't think I don't know. I was just like doing business and making content and not caring about the effect it had on the world. And then I was finally realizing like, wow, things really matter. Like as an individual, what you do actually affects the world. And that's when I started to think about branding and like, what do I stand for? Like, what are my values? Who do I actually want to work with and how do I actually want to help them? And then the tarot business was built because I was like, I have this tarot skill. I'm learning all this spiritual stuff. I'm like, my whole life is a spiritual journey now. So I was like helping others through theirs, all in Oregon. And then I had a little mini year in Michigan, just because I was like, let's try out another state. Like I did it once, let's do it again. Which was great. I was really good to expand my mind, to meet new people, working with small businesses there. I had this great entrepreneurial group of women. I was their tarot reader, but I was starting to be like, oh, wow, there's other entrepreneurs. Like I don't have to do this solo. And I started to just get that whole aspect of business and like life support. And then I went back to Oregon and then I met a guy and we did the pandemic together. And then he was like, well, I'm from LA and I want to go back to LA. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, do you want to go with me? And I was like, well, I've literally always wanted to go to LA because of the film industry in the past. So I was like, all right, let's go. And so we've been here for a year together. And I knew it was the right move because I was like, I want to be around creatives. I want to be around small businesses and artists and come home to California again. And like, I did my spiritual journey. I did my hero's quest. And I was like, it's time to get my film business started again, but under the terms of branding. And yeah, that led me here.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite the journey.
Nichole,
I'm trying to figure out like where do I dive in from here?
I know, I feel like that caused more
way
questions.
off. I'm glad I asked that question because I was way off. I really thought that you ended up in LA because of the film, but LA was just kind of final destination on your journey type.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily final destination, but destination for now.
It feels inevitable that I ended up here.
Yeah,
Like,
we could see that.
Yeah. It feels really good.
So being in LA, do you deal with a lot of like people that are like up and coming, or do you deal with a lot more like small businesses? Like, do you try to dive into the entertainment industry as well?
Well, I'm pretty lucky. My boyfriend's family is all in the entertainment industry. They're actresses and singers, and his dad works in the studios. His dad's actually the only licensed artist to make the Walk of Fame stars. So he does all of those. So the family's like very in it. So I just had an immediate introduction. But I've been here a year. The first 3 months were really like integrating with his family and just like, the settling after you move and figuring out where you're going to live. And it was all that. Then my boyfriend got in a near-death car accident and it rattled my world. And so that was like another layer of like, oh my God, what are my priorities? What's important? And that's when I started to be like, you know what, my business is shifting. I'm feeling like things are changing. So I didn't go out and explore LA with the lens of like, I'm looking for clients. It's been very internal. And I was like, let me finish up all the work under the tarot business. Cause I had many people under contracts. I had a membership. And so it was like the slow phasing out of that online career. And then I got accepted on the Blox. So then there was the 2 months of like, okay, speed this up, new business, speed it up, and like just getting clients through the network I already had. So I'm just now in the position where I've gone to one networking event in LA. I'm working with Gabby, who's on the Blox, and she lives in LA. So she's my first like local person. And she has an established business, but we're just taking it to that next level. And then that's why I want to host the networking events, because that's when I'm going to really tap into the community here and like find clients here.
So cool. So when you applied for the Blox, what did you apply for? What
It was my old business name. And I just explained to her, I was like, what I told you guys, I was like, okay, I've done this for this amount of time. I did this other business for 6 years. And I'm in this weird crossover of like, I was like, everything's shifting and changing, but I just like laid it all out in the phone call. And luckily Cassie's cool. The phone call was really long. So she's like, I got it. And when they stalked me online, it was kind of more the tarot business they were stalking. And I was like, just so you guys know, like, I'm going to show up for branding. I was like, I can come and be the Hollywood witch and like do that whole thing. But I was like, honestly, like, that's not the direction anymore. So they were like, come with your new stuff. Like, it's totally fine. They're like, you're obviously seasoned. And they're like, and maybe it's a good challenge that your business is like a little baby again. And
that's what I was thinking. Like, I was thinking how beneficial I would think it was for you. Just, we've talked before about the educational sessions on there and like the aha moments and things like that. And if you are in this like transition phase, how helpful it could have been.
Yeah.
And so that being said, tell us about your experience on the Blox, because we kind of shared ours, and then, Darwin, there's Darwin. And so he's been a guest on the show as well. But like, just to have a different, like, I feel like, with the fact that we're all at different stages in our business, like, what was your experience like on the Blox?
I'll start with one thing and then I'll go into the whole experience. But one moment that was tricky was on the 5th day, and Judge Kate was like, it was with the rapid fire questions. And she's like, where are you at in your business? Like, what stage? And I was just like, oh, this is so hard to answer, because on one end I'm scaling already, but I was like, but on the other end, I'm literally testing stuff first, because I'm just like juggling these two different like businesses and realities. And like, it's not really a baby, because I have all this other, like, I had a bunch of clients already that just plug in. So it was weird, especially because I had the film business for 6 years. So it's like, all good. The experience on the Blox was phenomenal. It was one of the best weeks of my life. The social aspect was my favorite, just networking with everyone, making like actually really great friends, getting clients from it. And we're still networking, like we're literally right here. Like, there's still magic happening from it, which is unbelievable and just way more value than I thought I was going to get. Of course, the educational piece was incredible. I 100% stand behind Wes Bergman's perspective on entrepreneurship, and I had not encountered that up until then. And I was just like, it was like validation to be like, great, this guy who's light years ahead has the same perspective and beliefs as I do on business and just about all these things. And so that was incredible. And then even just going and showing myself that I could do a week-long reality TV show experience with that many people for those long hours, that was a confidence booster that just, I really needed it. It was a big deal. Nicole's frozen again.
Oh no.
Am I?
I think it's good now.
I was like, because I'm not frozen on my side.
Could you hear everything? Do you think it recorded everything?
Yeah, it recorded. No, I got it all.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
There's one last.
My face is frozen. I apologize.
There's one last piece with all that. that I want to share. So I told you guys about the Oregon, why I fled there. So I developed anxiety so intense that I had agoraphobia, which is where you're like too anxious to even go outside. Like I would have a panic attack just like walking down the street, or I would go to open the door, like fully dressed with plans, and my hand would like shake at the doorknob and I would like throw up because I was like, that's how bad the anxiety got. So and that was 5 or 6 years ago. So it really just showed me like I'm really worked through all that to the point where I can go on reality TV around however many
That's
people
like a big
were there.
step.
It was huge. Yeah. It was really just like a personal, I don't know, big personal moment for me.
So that was going to be my next question. So like, was that your goal in going on there? Like, I know like everybody kind of had their own reasoning behind going on the Blox. A lot of people wanted to compete. A lot of people liked the reality side of it. A lot of people wanted the education. So like, what was your main goal behind going on the Blox?
Mine was social, because when I was in Oregon, I didn't really have to challenge the social stuff that much, like with the anxiety. And then I came to LA and I had to like kind of, that whole year of being in LA showed me like, oh yeah, you can talk in front of a group again. Like your anxiety's gone. And so I already felt really secure about that. It's just a whole new level to be like, oh, I was really good on the show. Like I didn't get anxious once, like not even on the airplane, like zero anxiety. So that was just like a bigger version of it, but I had already felt good about that. So I was like, okay, I'm going on the show because I want to really connect with every single person. Because that's something I unfortunately neglected for my 20s. I was a very social person in high school. I would throw all the events. I would gather everyone together. I was really big about groups of people. And then in my 20s, I just kind of focused on money. I focused on my business. No one else was doing what I was doing. It was a very isolating experience until I met a couple entrepreneurs in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I was like, oh, people are great, but I was still like not doing my best. It was more like individual stuff. And I was like, I'm not seizing the moment of like, these are people in front of you right now. Like, who cares if you never see each other again? Like you're here right now with them. And so I wanted to make that my main goal on the show, was just connect with as many people as possible, not even for the networking or the friends, but just to like be like, hey, we're here in this room together. And that's incredible. Like, just see what happens from there. And I totally fulfilled that goal, like beyond what I could even expect.
I was going to say, I think you nailed it on that one.
Yeah, I definitely did. And I'm very happy about that.
Okay. So it is time for our hard question, our close it out question. And we ask this to everyone. So your turn. What is one piece of advice that you would give to future or currently just getting started entrepreneurs?
Okay.
And you're the person they would come to, so I'm down to hear this. No pressure.
Okay. Go to my Instagram, Muse Branding Studio, Muse Branding Studio. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I literally do a live training that's free on all the advice I would give any aspiring or established entrepreneur. Today I talked about how do you not get clients that go on sales calls and then ghost you and like waste all your time. I talk about structuring a business, flowing in your business, money, everything. So like, that's my little plug, is like, my content's all free. I share all that stuff. But if you want to just listen, never look me up again. I would say to view business as a long-term commitment. Don't go into it because you're trying to get some fast cash, or you're trying to do some status thing, or it's because it's trendy. Understand that it is hard as hell on multiple levels that you cannot even expect. And to make it easier for yourself by first making that commitment and knowing it's a long journey, And then just reminding yourself, like, it's okay, I have time, the goals will be met, the stuff will get done, I'm going to learn the things, it's all okay. I'm in this for the long haul. So I'm just going to watch myself evolve and progress. I think if you go into entrepreneurship with that mindset, you'll be successful with it. Because you're listening to me right now, and I started when I was 16. So you can't just start tomorrow and like hold yourself to some expectation of someone who's like a million years into their journey, or just listen to people's marketing and think that it's actual gospel truth that you can make $100,000 in 3 months or whatever is trending right now. So long haul commitment, that's my advice.
Well, I know you just gave one little plug, but if you could give it again for those that are listening, if you can tell everybody how they can find you, your website, social media, how they're able to get in touch with you to hopefully use you for their branding, because Calliope is amazing at what she does. So if you can tell them how they can reach you.
Thank you. So I am very active online. You can find me at musebrandingstudio.com, or you can go on Instagram and it's Muse.Branding Studio. And I've actually been using Facebook more often. And I think you just search my name for that one. Calliope Scherrer. I'm not sure. I just started to actually use Facebook marketing, so I'm on there now. But yeah, my social and my website will make it very clear how to watch all my free content, interact with me, DM me, email me, or book a free consultation call.
Sorry, I'm making notes so I can write this all down. Okay.
We'll
Nichole?
edit this part out, but if you can email me all of that too, so we make sure that we link all the right stuff.
Totally.
We'll obviously edit this part. All right. Well, Calliope, thank you so much for joining us today. I know that I personally learned a lot from you, so I can't wait to see where Muse goes. And hopefully once you have all these networking events, we can all get together and collaborate with that. But yeah, thank you so much for taking your time to be on today.
Thank you so much for having me and giving me the space to share my journey. I loved it. Thank you.
I can't wait to do like a follow-up interview in, 6 months to a year and see how things have developed. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Yes.
And if you like this episode, please make sure to rate it below and subscribe so that you can hear all of our upcoming guests that we have for the podcast. So until then, everybody have a great day.
Bye.